Hey, welcome in, folks. Dan French, Wealthytainment, and I got my good friend here, Chris, with me today. We're going to talk about Grant Cardone and his comments that he came out with on a recent interview, stating that if you make $400,000 a year, that you're just not where you need to be. And with inflation costs and things going up, just life, right? Everyday life, that you really need to make more money. The average person making $250,000, having that career, having gone to, get that house, the car, they got the college education. It's just not enough. You're just being a robot, being very myopic through going through life. And so what he's saying is if you're in an industry that you're making, $400,000, which really, let's be honest, that's a top 10, 15% of wage earners in America, that you're still not there. And that why is somebody else in your industry or your craft or your profession making upwards of $4 or $5 million. So, Chris, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Yes, sir. Wonderful. Always a pleasure. I'm ready to knock out this topic and dissect what Grant Cardone is throwing out here on social media. Let's do it.
Yeah, you recently got had to get a new washer. Talk to us about that, man. What was the challenges you went through?
So, it's not about challenges. It's information overload. Reading reviews, reading pros, cons, and then factoring all that into what we need and what we want, right? Longevity, how long will this washer be used? Washer broke, had to go get a new washer. Haven't bought a washer in quite some time. So you go down that. Now, speaking of inflation, at first thought, I was like, oh, we'll just get a washer for like $200. Just not knowing, ignorant to what washers cost. And I mean, a bullshit washer is $500 just for regular, like one you would see at like a laundromat. So that was an eye opener. So speaking of inflation, washer machines have gone up. I mean, you can buy one washer machine for $2,000. So
yeah, it's
at
crazy.
That point, I don't think you'll ever need to go to a dry cleaner at that point with that type of capability. However, we did find one, and as far as the experience, just went to Home Depot. Salesperson was friendly, more than kind, and pretty informational, and went ahead and made a decision. I don't take a long time in terms of, and then there was a pain point because our washer's broken. We got to wash our clothes. So yeah, I knew that I was going to buy one yesterday, so that's what we did.
Yeah, I've been down that road, man, where you got to go in and you got to find that right washer. There's a lot of smart washers, and then you pay for what you get. That's pretty much everything. I mean, you obviously don't want to overpay for things, but, going through and doing your research is important. Now, let's get back to Grant Cardone and his outlandish, in my opinion, his outlandish comment, which some of it has truth. I can say some of it's merit, but he always kind of walks that line, man. It's like, when you talk about Grant Cardone and what you think about him, everybody either, like him or in the middle or just dislike him. And like you said before, being in the news is something that he wants his name out there. For me, there's always some little nuance or truth to what he says, but then there's a comment or something he says that I completely disagree on, and which is making $400,000 if you're in a household, you're the head of the household, you're the family, woman, whatever it is, that you're just not there. And you should be pushing yourself to go further than that. And I think it's relative to where people's mindset is. We've talked about that before. And then what people's objectives and goals are. If you're taking away all your time from your family so you can hit that 4 million, can you get those years back if you have kids? Can you get those years back or that time making memories? And so that's the point is, at what point do you balance that out? And I think that's the key to life. Let's listen to what Grant Cardone had to say about this, and we'll come back and give you our opinion.
You need to make more money. Right. People need to make more money. Everything's inflated on you but your imagination. The American people are fucking dumb, bro. The middle class is a bunch of robots walking around hypnotized because they have 2 cars and a college degree. And because you're not in jail or no threat of jail, you think you're good. You don't live in inner city Baltimore. You're not struggling for food every day. So you think you're safe. You're not safe. And this is what all these groups of people are being finally hit with. Okay. You're making 250 grand a year and you have no money left over. I've been saying this for years. There was a video I did about if you make 400 grand working for an insurance company where you can make $4 million, you should be ashamed of yourself as a father and a husband. And I got trashed over this. Okay. I'm like, look, if the guy next to you is making $4 million in the same company where you sell the same product, have the same opportunity, and you make 400 grand and you feel good about yourself, you should be ashamed of yourself. And then that went over.
I mean, listen, man, there's a certain bar for everybody, but let's kind of go back into it. You know, he came out and said Americans are fucking stupid because they're making 250,000, and if they have no money left over, I mean, that's a pretty harsh comment, and I think that's going to trigger a lot of people. When you come out and judge Americans, when you're talking about Americans, you're talking about it's a big genre, right? I mean, Americans are going to not take that lightly, and so I disagree with that comment because people still at 250, they could still come in, and that's a very good living for a lot of people, and they could probably make that work. Now, it comes back to, and it depends on what you're trying to get. And then he goes on and says, you know, making $400,000 in the same company, an insurance company, as say somebody else that's making $4 million, $5 million a year, that you're just not with it. And I'm like, look, what if it takes a lot of experience and time just to get into that entry level of being at that 400,000? I don't know. I mean, I don't make $400,000 a year. I think there's people that have made 400,000, but is it sustainable? That's the big question. Can you sustain 400,000, especially in sales? And, you know, for me, he comes across as being, I don't know, man, sleight of hand a little bit. I think he's got a lot of merit. You know, there's some stuff that's truth, like I said, and it kind of falls in the middle with me. What do you think about his comments?
Okay, so we'll tack on to the first comment. He said, you're making 250,000 and you have no money left over. I don't know if from his census or his data, he collected that data and on a spreadsheet, and from what a survey he sent out, because he does have a big, investment firm, maybe he has some data from that. However, if you're making 250,000 a year and there's no money left over, then you're 100% financially stupid. I agree with that. I think
well, financially stupid, but what if you invested money and then things changed in your life? Look, a lot of people want to say that you make 250 clear and you're just...
Wait, let's back up. What do you mean invested money and what are you talking about?
I'll give you an example. If you're making $250,000, let's say year over year, clipping off year over year, you're 5-6 years in the game, and you go buy investment properties or businesses, or you try to put your money into it, and they were doing well. And then all of a sudden you have inflation, you have costs of materials, costs of labor, things go up that you traditionally didn't have to worry about. And now you got to adjust your prices. Okay. Let's say that you did that, or you invested into something thinking that that would work. And then all of a sudden now you're taking a huge loss because of these investments, or because you just invested your money and you're trying to make more money or have your money work for you. Again, this comes back to an entrepreneurship, letting your money flow, return on investment. What I'm trying to say, again, this is an annual income he's talking about with the 250. But when you start making more money, if you're just going to go blow your money and it's just like vacation after vacation and you're buying all these toys and stuff, of course, that's going to be stupid. And I'm going to be like, you're dumb for doing that. But if you're taking that money and reallocating it into things to help you gain more sustainable wealth, that's more of a, people say passive income. Let's just say income that's sustaining you and paying you, and then all of a sudden it changes. I can't really look down on people for that because you're trying. And again, I think Grant Cardone's he's a coach, life coach, almost more so, and a marketer more so than an investor, because he never really breaks the numbers down on a real detailed level. But just for me, I don't look at people and say, you're making 250. It comes down to circumstances.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're adding a layer to it. You're talking about investments and things go up, that you're adding something to what he said. I mean, if we're just talking about a raw 250 flat, that's what you're making a year, and you have no money left over, you're financially stupid. No money left over, you have a spending problem. 100%. There's no way to slice it. There's no way to make sense of it. Now, if you took a bulk of that money, like you're adding to the statement, and you went and bought, a franchise and it bellied up and you took out all your savings, 401k, whatever you got thrown in your life, and it failed, and now you're cash, you don't have any money, that's different. But I'm talking about you're just working, you're not really making investments, you're just overspending, have $1,000 car payment, 2 cars, over living, overspending, eating out on dinners a lot. I mean, that's a lot of damn dinners. You're talking about
Yeah, I go ahead.
4 nights a week steakhouses. You have no more money left after $250 a year. I would have to agree that you're financially stupid or inadequate,
Yeah.
Ignorant, whatever word we want to use. Maybe stupid's harsh, but it is what it is. That's horrible.
Yeah, but I'm thinking if you're saying that if you're working, and we're not going to go crazy on it, but if you're making $250 and then you have extra money left over, you're spending just the bare minimum. What I say by that is you're not going and getting extravagant gifts or extravagant vacations, things like that. Then I just don't, if you're reinvesting the money in some other way, or if it's, you're sitting on it and you're looking at, that's what people really want, is they want options. So for me, I just say you have to be erroneously, wildly spending to be $250. At $400,000, I could pretty much write my ticket for anything that I want. And so I feel that, yes, to some degree, he has an understanding that you got to be better than what you need to be. Like, for instance, in this reference to an insurance person working at an insurance company making $400, sure, you want to get to $4 million. That doesn't happen overnight. But I mean, my thing is that he makes a solid judgment on things. It's very direct, very in your face. And I think that there's more layers, like you said, to the situation. Being $250 a year, you still have options. You could be broke, you could have no money, but if you got a good paying job and you got $250,000 a year, maybe combined household income, that's a significant better living than most Americans have. At $400,000, like I said, you're probably in the top 10, 15%. Again, it depends on what you're trying to get, but I could sit there and make an argument that that might be all you need in life and that you shouldn't be criticizing people. And I think that's where he goes wrong.
Well, he didn't criticize the average person making 400,000. He said 400,000 and another person's making 4 million at the same exact company, the same exact one.
Do you think 400,000 is any less successful if somebody's lifestyle, they could do whatever they want, versus somebody at 4 million? Do you think it's any less successful for that each person?
No, he didn't say less successful. He never said that. You're adding to what he said. You're adding to it. He didn't say that. He just said that if someone's making 400,000 and another making 4 million at the same exact company, you're selling the same exact product, and he thinks you should be ashamed of yourself. That's what he said.
Yeah, but I disagree with that.
He didn't say that 400,000 wasn't a lot of money. He said if you're making 400,000 and the guy, Jim, Sally, Brian, Kelly, whoever, man or woman, is sitting next to you in your cubicle right next to you, they're not a manager, they're not an upper management, they're not an executive decision maker, they're a salesperson just like you, and they're making 4 million. He doesn't understand how you could just sit there and just be okay with the 400,000. That's what he's.
But what if money is not the objective for you? Like there's a lot of people that do well and they make enough money to survive or to have options. I think he's chasing money. I think a lot of these guys that are out there that become these, financial gurus, and they're always in the news and they're always talking about how you need to invest and how you need to do this. That's great. Everybody's different. Everybody's got a different mindset, a different motivational factor. He's the guy that comes right direct in your face like, bro, you need to make this money. You need to do this. You need to do that. Hey, I'm cool with somebody motivating somebody, but when you start criticizing people, which that's what he did, and when you start trying to judge people based off of somebody's financial wealth versus what yours is, again, everybody's got a goal. That doesn't mean maybe that person does want to get there, or maybe they don't need to get there. The reality of it is that's for him, right? You can't say all Americans want to do that. And that's where it comes with that mindset of, unless you're financially wealthy or you're financially better than the next person, then that's your merit. You know what I mean? That's what's going to end up happening.
I mean, I guess, yes, we don't know what that person making 400,000, maybe that's the complete fulfillment for them. Maybe that's where they wanted to get to. hey man, if I can get to 400,000, I'll be straight. I don't care that the guy next to me is making 4 million. We don't know that. That's not what he's talking about. You're adding your own thing to it. He didn't say that. He just said that if you're making 400,000 and the person next to you is making 4 million with the same exact product, service, opportunities, in his view, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're adding other things. Well, what if they're happy making that? That has nothing to do with what he said. Zero.
Do you agree with his comment though? Do you agree that you should be following that process of, if you're not making 4 million, that you're just screwed up? I mean, you basically are just one of those people out there that are, unfortunately, you're not making it, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Do you really agree with that though?
Well, he's not, Dan. He's not talking about the 4 million. He's just using that as an example. Okay, I can use this example with my industry, being in car sales. You have two people in the internet department. They both sell Hondas. They both get leads. They both get the same opportunities. No one is stricken from less than the other. You got one salesman that's making $3,000 a month, and you got the other salesman making $20,000 a month. If I was making $3,000 a month and the person that sat next to me is making 20, I don't know if I'd use the word ashamed, but I definitely would be what? I'm doing something wrong. Because it doesn't matter if I was happy with the $3,000 a month. If I could make 20, there's my skill set is not down. I need my follow-up is not right. I'm not educated on the product. Something is not working. That's what he's talking about. And if that doesn't ignite you to say well, let me get myself better so I can make 10, 8, 9, 12, 15, 20,000, 50,000 a month. And that person that sits next to me makes that. And I don't even have I guess it would be a sense of the mental fortitude to ask, hey man, can we sit down? Can I listen to your phone calls? Can I sit down? We can go over some word track. What are you doing that I'm not doing? Because bro, you come in here, you make 20,000 a month like clockwork. I'm making 3, 4. My best month was 5. I'm doing something wrong.
I agree.
Point blank, period.
I know, I agree, but I just think his tactic and the way he does it. And here's my thing: is I don't agree with the fact of how he's very judgmental on the situation. Again, I don't know, man. Some people do want to get better. He's chasing financial wealth. I mean, you can see that he's constantly marketing himself. So going back to his comment, I'm going to say this. I do agree with the fact that people need to make more money and they need to keep progressing. I think that's the big part of what he's trying to say. Now, as far as the message he's coming across saying, if you're making 400,000 and why somebody isn't making 4 million, I think if you get to a certain number, $400,000 again is the top 10 to 15% of people, average wage earners here in America. And when you classify and judge Americans as a whole, that if you're not even at the starting gate, he's saying the starting gate in this industry is 400,000, that there's people in there making 4 million, 5 million. Great. I can make an argument though that at 400,000, even at 250,000, if you live right, like you said, and you put all your ducks in a row, then you should be fine. You shouldn't have to worry about making 4 million. Now, if you want to live that lifestyle, you want to be an investor, you want to, pound your chest a little bit like he does, and a lot of these gurus and these financial people, you want to build a name for yourself, and you want to get out there, and your goal is to hit 100 million, and everybody praising you, or at least having that conflict of somebody either liking or disliking you, then I think he's really doing and achieving what he wants to do. But overall, again, you got to take everything, the good and the bad. And I think there's some good things that you can come out of that. There's some bad. Overall, probably won't follow him consistently, but I guess what people do is kind of get bits and pieces of what he has to say and maybe put it in their own terms. You got anything else to say about him?
No, I have nothing else. I mean, Grant Cardone, he's done I guess we would use the word masterful job at being known. He's said multiple times, I don't care if you like me, I don't care if you dislike me, but I do care if you don't know me. I think that's important. Being known to him is more important than being liked. I guess I would agree with that to some degree, right? I'm not I don't think you should go out there and be cruel and mean and spiteful to people. But I know me, I'm not looking for people to like me. So I agree with that sense in terms of the frame and how you want to project yourself to the world. And he is so going back to masterful marketing, he does that. If you happen to be looking for sales training or real estate, you punch that into that YouTube search bar. It's a high probability he's going to come up, something in reference to those two industries. He's done a good job at that. Does he say things that I don't necessarily agree with? Yes, he does. Now, there's some things he said that I do agree with. And I don't, when I listen to somebody, I don't listen to it for, well, now that I don't like him, now he says that, and I try to find a reason to disagree. I think it's a little immature. I've seen people do that. I don't do that. Right? There's been things he said I don't like, and there's been things he said that I agree with. So,
all right, guys, that's it. So you guys got our opinion on it. Please like the channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, anyone, leave them in the comment section. We'll do our best to answer them. We'll see you guys at the next one. We're out of here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.